What is going on, everybody? Hope everyone's having a great, I believe it is Tuesday afternoon. I am here in my office doing some work, and as you guys can see, I got the one and only Pat Rigsby on the other screen. Pat, how are you, my friend?
Well, man, I'm good. I'm happy to be here. So hanging out with you, which it'll be cooler when we're hanging out in person here in about a month. But
Yes,
good
sir.
start.
Yes, I love that you're outside, the fresh air. I'm inside an office. I'm kind of jealous.
Well, I just came outside for this. I'd been kind of holed up in the office all morning, and it's kind of chilly here now. But it's warmer, nice out, so I figure I'll enjoy it while I can.
Man, speak about chilly. So yesterday it was 65 degrees in Texas. The day before it was 95 degrees in Texas. So we went from summer to fall in 24 hours.
We had something like that like last Thursday and Friday, so I feel your pain.
I love it. It reminds me of California. So I am excited for this cooler weather. And if you guys are watching this, quick little shout out, Rise. We're 30 days away from the event officially today. Today is the 30-day mark for Rise 2019. We got the buy one get one free going on till October 15th. So you got about 6 more days. And Pat, if you guys haven't gone to the website, attendrise.com, Pat is one of the speakers. He's been at Rise. I think this is now your 4th time at Rise, speaking at Rise.
Yep.
And so I wanted to bring Pat on for those that have not heard him speak at any event, more specifically Rise, to talk a little bit about what it is he'll be speaking on. And so, Pat, I'm going to kind of turn this to you. Give us an idea for someone who's watching this right now. What is your talk? I know it's about ideal business and simplifying the business, but what are some of the 2 to 3 takeaways from your talk at Rise 2019?
So, I think a lot of times we all get overwhelmed, right? We overthink things. We're inundated with all these tactics and ideas and strategies that people throw at us, that some of them are great and some of them maybe are just somebody being opportunistic in marketing to us, right? But there's so much piled on us, and we're busy running a business, and we need to figure out, like, what can I actually take and implement that's going to work for me, that's going to make my business more effective in attracting the right client, in serving the clients better, in retaining them longer, and in doing those things in a way that's going to be fulfilling to me and profitable. And so really my talk is about simplifying things, doing things the right way, which may seem a little cliche, but doing things in a way that, if you want to attract a certain type of person, how to go out there and connect with that person, and how to follow up with them, bring them in, give them the result they want, the experience they're going to enjoy, and turn that into a mechanism to really multiply that type of client, and do it in a way that makes you happy, so you can do this long term, and it's profitable, so you can get the rewards that I think that we all wanted when we started our business. So I'm going to distill some things down and hopefully make things a little simpler for you.
So if you looked across the fitness industry right now, and more specifically those that are involved in gyms or running gyms, have we complicated? Is it complicated now, right? Is it because there's so many things required of us as gym owners to be able to run the business? What's one thing you focus on? Like, what can somebody take away from our call right now, this live, that I can go back this afternoon and apply to start simplifying the business and making it a little bit easier?
Well, I mean, our job is kind of twofold, right? It's to really serve the people inside our 4 walls, to give them the result they want through an experience they enjoy. And then the second part is expose more people to the first part.
Yep.
And whenever things get muddled, when they get messy, when you start thinking about all these tactics that are thrown out there, hey, I'll flood your gym with prospects, or trying to figure out the latest in a training tool or software you need or whatever else. I mean, sometimes you have to strip that stuff away and say, okay, am I doing this for my clients now? Are they getting the result they want? Are they enjoying the process that they've got to go through to get that result. Because one of the things about our business that maybe isn't inherent in most businesses is it's delay of gratification, right? I mean, if we go to if you and I go to a restaurant when I'm in Texas, we're going to get the meal before we get the check.
Yep.
Well, here we're asking people to sign up, and hey, 6 weeks, 6 months down the road, you're going to get this wonderful outcome. Well, they need to enjoy the process enough that they stick around to get that outcome. So is that all happening? And then on a daily, or at least, several times a week basis, are we exposing new people to what we're doing? And if we are, and we're good at what we do, then we're going to get our fair share to come in and be part of this. So if you're not sure, if you're overwhelmed, if you're kind of feeling like you're in quicksand, I mean, strip it back to those two things. And if you can do those two things profitably while playing the role in the business you enjoy and you're meant to play, then you're going to be in pretty good shape.
And so you mentioned attracting, and I want to touch on this a little bit because I know you posted something in one of your groups, I think it's the FLA group, on things to do outside of Facebook ads and social media, ways to attract clients. I really think everyone is getting wrapped up in this whole Facebook ad thing that we're losing sight of. There's other ways organically to go find and get leads without having to rely on ads. Can you share a little bit of those? Like, can you share, like, what are like your top maybe 2 or 3 that if you were a gym owner and your ads are just like, man, these things are just, I'm paying way too much or whatever's going on with ads, what are some other things I can do to go get leads?
Well, I think the first is this little psychological shift, right? And thinking in terms of the person we're trying to reach rather than the tactic we're trying to use to reach them. So if we think about who we're trying to reach, and we already have kind of an example of those people in our 4 walls already. We already know who those people are. So we got to figure out, like, well, okay, where are my people when they're not here? And if we think about where they are when they're not here, well, we just have to go connect with them there and kind of make them aware of what we do and start a conversation. So in a very simple kind of approach, I mean, anything that we can do from a referral standpoint is great, right? And yeah, everybody does something referral based, but my experience is that, you know what, some people are going to respond to one type of referral tactic and other people are going to respond to a different one. So you may be doing a bring a friend event. You may be doing a charity event. You may be asking your clients to, share something on social media with the rest of their network. You may be asking your clients to just introduce you to new people or, invite you to be part of other things that they're doing. I mean, if you were trying to connect in my neighborhood, for example, I mean, I just think of the things that somebody could do here locally.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 2 elementary schools that kind of serve as borders at the neighborhood. You could go do any number of things with the PTA at either school. PTAs are always trying to raise money. I mean, you could certainly do some sort of event to help them raise money. We could do direct mail. We could do newsletters. I mean, we've got a magazine and a print newsletter in my subdivision or homeowner association. You could run ads in those. You could do a pop-up workout at the clubhouse. I mean, we're about to enter kind of a political season. Well, you see all the things that politicians are doing, yard signs and like door hangers and all this other stuff.
Yep.
Well, they probably wouldn't be doing it if it didn't work at all,
yep.
Right? So, I mean, there's all this that we have at our disposal, but we default to this one thing. And kind of I think the story that plays through my head that I always kind of laugh about is like people go stand in line at Starbucks to order a coffee and stare at our phone while we're doing that, and then go back to our gym and try to target with Facebook ads the person who was standing in front of us in line at Starbucks instead of just starting conversation with them. So, I mean, we're selling a personal service. So anything that we can do to be personal is, something that not only can be pretty effective, but it can probably cause us to stand out in the crowd because so few people are doing it anymore. I did a post, I don't know, months ago, where I listed out all the different marketing tactics I used for my own local businesses, not what I've done like with my coaching, consulting type stuff. And there were like 117.
Damn.
And some of them were awful. Some of them were I remember standing in front of a Walmart with a body fat tester, getting people to come up and test their body fat. And it was miserable, right? It was in the middle of the summer, but it worked. It was during a pre-sale for a health club I was opening, and we sold like 18 memberships that afternoon.
Wow.
But yeah, it was kind of, not something I would ever enjoy doing. Yeah. But if I think about how like these obscure things that nobody would typically try, but it worked, right?
I want to see someone post, I went to Walmart and did body fat. Someone who's watching this, go do that and then post up what you did and let's see some results. I just think it's the off the wall. No one's expecting it. No one's doing it. So if you're the only one in your area that's doing it, you're probably going to get, if nothing else, leads, if not 18 sales like you got.
Yeah. It was, I'd probably go to Target now, but Walmart had literally just opened that week. So I knew it was going to be like a high traffic venue. I've traded out for over $30,000 in radio spots without ever coming out of pocket for a penny, right? TV spots, billboards, car wraps, lead boxes, door hangers. I've kind of done anything that I could ever figure out how to do. And, they all work to varying degrees. So the people who come around the neighborhood selling you cleaner or whatever else, I hired one of those sales teams to canvass a neighborhood and sell 6-week memberships. And it worked, right? I don't necessarily know that I would tell the people watching this or the people that are going to be with us at Rise to go try all this stuff. But the idea here is just understanding, okay, where are my people? Like literally, logistically, where do they live? Where do they work? Where do their kids go to school? Where do they go to church? Where do they shop? Are there avenues that I can connect with them other than just Facebook? And invariably there always are. And that doesn't mean that Facebook doesn't work, because I'm a huge advocate of using Facebook. I probably just use it a little bit differently than the average marketer would.
So for you, how would you use it? Like, how are you using it? If you're open to talking, how are you using it for your business different than anybody else?
I would use it to just start a relationship. I'm not trying to sell you. Well, think about like, okay, let's say we got our phone, we're going through line at Starbucks or Chipotle or wherever, and I stumble across this ad for, hey, I've got this 12-week fitness program. Well, I'm not going to make this committed decision where I'm going to rearrange my life and change my schedule and find somebody to watch my kids or get my wife to take, my son to school instead or whatever else, so I can make this impulsive decision on trying to order a latte or something, right? But a lot of people do that. A lot of people think, well, that's what I want to happen, so I'm going to post this ad. Whereas I tend to just try to get people to self-identify and say, okay, I'm going to raise my hand. I'm interested in learning more. And so for me, I'll use books, some sort of gift to get them to raise their hand and say, look, I'm I'm interested in what you have to offer, the problems that you solve, the way that you can help me maybe move from where I am to where I want to be. But I'm willing to give you the opportunity to continue the conversation, and that's all I'm asking them to do right there.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I mean, it's almost the way that we tend to approach it as an industry. It's almost like going up to somebody before you ever ask them their name or ask them, hey, could I give you a call or whatever else, walking up to them, say, hey, do you want to get married?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a process, right? Like
Sure.
there's this development of a relationship that I think that's how I tend to use social media, maybe differently than the average person would.
I love it because I know in one of the groups you were talking about how you use the gift of your book as almost like a lead magnet for those that want to get involved in your in just getting into your world and starting to build that relationship. And you shared that, and I think outside of a book, like what's somebody, if I wanted to follow that process, like kind of like you're doing, what's something as a gym owner I could do, maybe an ad that I could create or something, what can I give away today or start doing today that I can help start building that relationship?
So I'm a big fan, along with our buddy Scott Rawcliffe, of gift cards.
Yes.
A gift card where somebody can feel comfortable maybe saying, yeah, maybe I'll try this out when I'm ready, right? That's the way a gift card works. It's not like, oh, I've got to use this thing within 24 hours or it expires. So a gift card's good. Any sort of lead magnet where you're giving somebody the a step towards the solution they want to obtain, a move away from the problem they have, or you're just giving them information, right? And when I say just giving information, let me be more specific. So let's say that I wanted to move into your neighborhood. What town do you live in the general DFW area?
Richardson.
So if I were going to go online and start doing some of that, maybe I'd be looking for homes in Richardson, right? So maybe I would want, if somebody offered a free home buying guide for Richardson, that would be something that would pique my interest.
Yeah.
And it's just neutral information. Well, whoever's putting it out has an agenda, but they're giving me enough value that I'm okay with them following up. And if it's a real estate person or a mortgage lender or whatever else, then that's fine. You've given me some information. So somebody could easily do a gym buying guide, right? Like something to all the local gyms, or a guide to active lifestyles in Louisville, Kentucky, or something like that, right? So neutral information. Or, I mean, once we get into the holidays, I mean, you could easily come up with all sorts of, healthy recipe guide for the holidays or whatever else.
Yeah, I love it. And it's all good. I mean, if you're watching this, whether you're live or hopefully you're taking notes, even whether you're live or the replay, because we just shared, or Pat just shared a bunch of nuggets that can be implemented today to start seeing whether it's leads or just relationships and starting to open up those conversations. And as you can tell, it's a very simple, yet it takes work formula. And I wanted to kind of transition to this because this is part of your topic and your conversation at Rise. So if I'm watching this and I'm on the fence of whether I should attend or not, like, why pull the trigger to come see you talk?
Because there's just so much information. Information's not the limiting factor for us, right? It's, can I go get out of my day-to-day and do something differently, right? Like, am I going to work on my business or in my business? And as much as I love virtual education that we all have access to anywhere, I can tell you that attending live events for me has been worth tens of millions of dollars to my businesses over the years, because that's where we're forged. That's where I could step away from the day-to-day of my business and actually think creatively and come up with more of a strategic, visionary type of approach instead of just day-to-day. Man, I just got to get through the responsibilities I have at hand. I mean, I can look back at the first event I ever went to in our industry. It was a Ryan Lee boot camp. And that event changed the trajectory of my career to the point that I'm sure you and I wouldn't be talking today if I hadn't attended that. So,
wow. And you've put on events yourself. I mean, you were putting on quite a bit of events in the
over 100. Yes, over 100.
And what for you, kind of being on both sides, right? The event host and the event attendee. What's so special about event? Like for you, what was special about those events?
Just shared experiences, and I mean, you can do more to build a relationship in an evening over dinner than you could from 24 Skype conversations, right? So many of the relationships that I have now in this industry were all, it seems like all of them originated with some sort of in-person activity, or they were magnified there, right? Like I may have talked to somebody in advance or known of them, but when it went from acquaintance to actually a relationship was in that type of environment.
Yep. And this is coming from the man who's put on hundreds of events, right? And you've seen the ins and outs and you've seen the impact they can have. And this is kind of where I think with Rise being not a big event, but big enough to where there's still 150 plus gym owners and trainers, but it's small enough to where the presenters, and you've been to a few of them where it's very intimate, right? All the presenters are there. All the presenters are very reachable, which I think we've both been to these big events where the speaker comes in, does his talk and leaves. Rise is a little bit different where, and maybe you can speak to this a little bit from the last one you were at, where attendees want to come and talk to you, and as speakers, you guys are right there talking to each other.
Yeah, I mean, logistically, somewhere like Idea World or something like that. I mean, yeah, there are plenty of plenty of talks and plenty of kind of breakout sessions and all these things. But it's a lot of information, but it's not necessarily a lot of connection. For me, the biggest part of an event is the actual forging of relationships, the stuff that happens between sessions, the stuff that happens after sessions. In fact, I all the coaching stuff that I do, I mean, we've got live coaching here this week, and I know a lot of people that, they're in the quote unquote coaching business. They don't do a lot of in-person stuff. I mean, I don't think I could do this without having an in-person component, because I want to see people face to face. I want to connect with them and get to know them. And so I think in an environment like Rise, we have that opportunity to spend time with people that, and whether it's just asking an individual question about how to, like, we all have to accept that if somebody's doing a presentation, it's a little bit like a book, right? I mean, it's not customized to the individual reader. It's not customized to the individual person in the audience. So because it's a small, intimate event, somebody could come to me and say, well, hey, you talked about this. Here's my situation. How could I apply that?
Yeah.
And get that customized to them in a very intimate coaching type of setting that, I just don't know that you have the opportunity to do when we're talking about events that have, multiple thousands of people. Yeah. So I mean, man, there's just so much to be derived from being in a room with like-minded people that are motivated. That, I mean, we all have heard the kind of cliche stuff like you're a product of the 5 people you're around most. Now, I don't know that the magic number is 5 by any means, even though, Jim Rohn was brilliant. I think, but there's 100% you are a product of the environment you put yourself in, the people that you're around. So if you want to be around achievers, then you go spend time with achievers. And if you want to be around people who've done successful things that you want to learn from, then yeah, this is a pretty cool opportunity to do that. So, I mean, hopefully, I get to meet you when we're down there if you're watching.
Of course. And we've changed it up, man. This year, I got some special things. We're working on the Rise workbook, where, there you can, and breakouts. We've added breakout sessions to each day because we've realized that you're going to get a full day of information, and the workbook's going to help you filter out that information. And then which leads, now you take your workbooks and each day's theme. So Pat is speaking on day one, which is all about attraction. Both ways. How do I become attractive to my ideal market or audience? And two, how do I create that attractive messaging so that they come back to me? And then at the end of day one, there is a breakout session and everyone's in a room with the speakers and we're working, right? So there's a little bit of a twist to this year's Rise event. So if you're watching, whether it's right now or the replay, go to attendrise.com. Tickets are buy one, get one free till the 15th. What else, Pat? What else? I know Pat's going to be there. We got Holly's going to be there, who's on next week. We're going to go. His wife's going to be there as well. So we got the Rigsby combo, which is, I love having Holly speak. So Pat, anything else you want to add before we hop off?
Well, for me, this is, I mean, I've narrowed down the number of events I speak at, and I only really, I'm only really speaking in an environment where I enjoy the people, not just the platform. And, my experience, the reason we've kept coming back and spending time together is it's just good people that I think are all driven to get better. It's people I want to spend time with. It's people that I want to see enjoy more success, and hopefully I can help them get. So we've got a great crowd, and I'm excited.
I am too. Well, hey man, thanks. Thanks for taking 30 minutes out of your day for doing this live, and hopefully we'll share this. Hopefully I see all of you guys at Rise, get a chance to meet Pat, and Pat, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk real soon.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Pat.